Hello, everybody. My name is Marsh, and welcome to my most anticipated games for the year of 2023. Let's jump into it. To start out, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated, but let's go ahead and get started. So these are my top anticipated games for the year of 2023. I would love if I had the chance to play every single one of them, but with time, I won't probably get to play all of them, but I'll try to get as many as I can, and hopefully get a review out and let you guys know what I think. But let's go ahead and get started and see what my top games of 2023 are. So this list is going to be chronological order for the most part in terms of when things come out. Not necessarily what I'm most hyped for, just what I'm excited to play. So, number 1, Fire Emblem Engage. So like I mentioned before, I may not be able to play every game right away. That game just came out in January, and I'm a pretty big Fire Emblem fan. I started with Awakening. I've played all of them on the 3DS, Three Houses. I've even played the Game Boy one, as well as the Shadow Dragon remake. So I played a lot of them, not all of them by any sake, but I'm excited for another rendition. I'm probably not going to pick it up until the summer when I have more time, but I definitely want to play it, and I'm excited to get the reviews out, see how it is, and experience it for myself. I'm personally one of the people who plays it like like the OGs. I don't like playing without permadeath. I'll restart if my characters die, and I like the consequences. But that's the first game. On to the next one. The next game that is coming out that I'm interested in is Hogwarts Legacy. I am a fan of Harry Potter. Now, there is a lot of controversy around this game due to J.K. Rowling's comments on a lot of topics in general and what she said overall. And so there's a lot of protests of people boycotting the game. I don't know if I'm necessarily in the spot of boycotting the game because she's not the one making the game per se. I don't know if she gets revenue from it. So that's a tough position, but I'm excited to see what they do because I was a fan of the original Harry Potter movie games on the PS2 back when I played them, specifically Prisoner of Azkaban. That was one of my favorite games growing up. And so I'm excited to see what will happen in this own Hogwarts world that we can control and if it's good. So we'll see how that is. The next game is Redemption Reapers. This is also coming out in the earlier part of the year. Much like Fire Emblem, it's also a tactical RPG made by the same director, I believe, who did Path of Radiance for Fire Emblem. So it has some relation in terms of that, but it looks a lot more mature. There's a lot more killing and blood, and it just looks like mature Fire Emblem. So I'm interested to see that take on it, how good it's done, and it really has me intrigued, and I am really vying for it to be good. So we'll see how that is. Next is Wulong Fallen Dynasty. This game was huge when they released like a gameplay thing on it. I believe it was like a year or two ago, and it's now finally finishing development. It's supposed to be sort of like a Souls-like from what I know, and just that original gameplay that they released had me really intrigued, so I'm excited to see what it's like when it comes out. I do like the Souls-like genre. Specifically, Elden Ring was my first Souls-like, but I've played Dark Souls 3 as well. Really liked it. Just those like difficult melee intensive games are really fun. I enjoy the challenge of having to like go back and forth. I guess you could throw the new God of War in there as well as that type of game, which was an amazing game. The next game after that is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, the first game was good. I thought it was a good starting off point. I did have issues with it, such as lack of customization. That was like one of the main things. And the story was good, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking. I want to really see them push it, see where they go from here, and I want them to build that customization. Let's look back at Force Unleashed when that originally came out, and the customization that was there alone was so much more than the original Jedi Fallen Order game. So I want them to build on that, keep the Souls-like formula, keep it going, and expand, and do good for the Star Wars franchise. And after that is probably one of my most anticipated games of the year. This is top 2, honestly, and that is the Resident Evil 4 remake. Now, I do have some hesitation on it. There are a few things I'm worried about. Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time. So when I see certain things in the trailer, it makes me hesitate a bit on how I think about it. I am hypercritical when it comes to it, but I'm also extremely excited. And so I can't wait to see what they do, how they take it. No matter what, it's not going to ruin Resident Evil 4, the original. That game is in its own class, and this remake is not going to change anything that I think about that game. But it's more of how can we bring people in who haven't played it that can grab the original? Or depending how the game is it going to be better than the original? Is it going to expand on it, show more story, develop stuff? I'm very interested to see what they do. And it's probably my number 2, if not number 1 most hyped game of the year. So I cannot wait. Next is the next Legends of Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, I believe. Now, Legend of Zelda I'm okay with. Played Ocarina of Time. I started Majora's Mask, but kind of like fell off. Link's Awakening I really like. That's one of my favorites, actually. The first one I actually played in terms of Legend of Zelda Link games. And then also Breath of the Wild, of course, was great. It was fun. It was amazing. I didn't go back to it per se, but I still love my first playthrough when it came to it. So I'm interested to see what they do with that formula and how they improve upon it, increase it, do more, and expand the story. And let's see what they can really do. So that should be good. Okay. And now, maybe my number 1 most anticipated game of the year, Final Fantasy 16. Whew, man. My journey with Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy in general has been huge in the last few years. I recently got into it during the pandemic in 2020, played all of Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, all the way through, have over 700 hours in that game. I played Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, and I'm currently playing 4, and I love all the Final Fantasy games that I've played, to the point now where if I even play a Final Fantasy game or if I hear the theme from one of them, it gets me emotional sometimes, or like it just hits me in the feelings, and I get those feelings from it. So I'm so excited to see what they do with this, especially now that they're going back to an actual fantasy setting instead of the futuristic stuff, because I do enjoy the fantasy ones a little bit more in my heart of hearts. But super excited to see what they're going to do. I really hope they don't mess it up, and that's probably my number 1 most anticipated game, either that or Resident Evil, and I can't wait. And after that is Starfield by Bethesda. I might make a Starfield video based off what I think going in. This game has big stakes for Bethesda because their last few games have been duds, to be quite frank. And a lot of people are dropping off of Bethesda's train and they don't trust them anymore as a developer. So this one is really going to matter how it impacts everyone. And I'm interested to see what they'll do. I'm worried about a few things, such as the procedural generation for planets, over 1,000 planets. I don't want to go to a planet and have it be just a hollow husk. I'd rather have 5 planets that are in depth and full and you can explore instead of many procedural generated planets. So we'll see how they tackle that. I'm excited, but worried and cautious, and I really hope they can do it well, because at least Skyrim is one of my favorite games of all time. I enjoy the Fallout games. Oblivion I enjoy as well. But Skyrim is still one of my favorites. It's not an amazing story, but I love what they did in terms of exploration, making your own story out of it, and doing what you need to. I always looked at it as like a Grand Theft Auto fantasy game. That's what I always thought. So we'll see how they do that with Starfield. And I'm really, really hoping that it's not bad. But I guess we'll find out. Okay. Another one is The Wolf Among Us 2. Now, the first game is amazing. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend going out and playing it. It's a Telltale game, so it's more of a story-based game that you watch and you make certain decisions. And it is actually based off a comic series called Fables. I have read a good portion of it, so it'll be interesting to see what they take from it and what if they're doing a story from it or if they're just like doing their own thing. I haven't read all of Fables. I think I've read like 14 or 15 issues, which is past where the first game is. And I own like a bunch of them, but I'll probably pick it up before this game comes out and try to finish it maybe, just to have like my overall thoughts going into it. But I'm excited to see where it goes, what they do with the big bad wolf, and how they handle the sequel, because the first game was amazing and it's been a long time coming. And finally, another game I'm excited for, mentioning Final Fantasy again, is the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. It's just a remaster of all the older games, and I want to play through those, so it'd be nice to get the Pixel Remaster and see how those are. Nothing huge with that one, though. I mean, those are probably going to be great. But overall, those are my most anticipated games for the year of 2023. Let me know if there's any games that you're excited for that I didn't mention, or if I mentioned them, are you hyped for them as well? Do you have any worries? Let me know down in the comments below. If you could leave a like and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. And other than that, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.